John, thank you. New overnight, a Senate passes a bill to raise the debt ceiling, preventing the first ever U.S. default. Now, late last night, the Senate approved the same debt ceiling and budget cuts package passed by the House earlier this week.
However, the compromise package left neither Democrats nor Republicans fully satisfied, and that showed in the House and Senate votes. Both far-right and far-left lawmakers voted against the package, with centrists pushing the bill past the finish line. The package allows the Treasury to continue borrowing to pay its debts while also reeling in some federal spending. President Biden says he will sign the debt package immediately when it reaches his desk.
We're joined this morning by Dave Weisberger, the former managing director of CitiGroup and CEO of Connroutes. So let's start with this. Dave, what does this mean for the markets, the global markets?
Well, we've been in a waiting pattern for the past month or so where markets really haven't done a whole lot. People have been concerned about what we call tail risk. That's a fancy way of saying if a disaster happens, it could be really bad. Or if they do something, to basically create runaway spending, that markets might very well have gone in the other direction. Maybe not necessarily a great thing, but the fact is this looks like we're back in the center. What you just said in the commentary a second ago, with that centrist pushing it through, is something that will be seen as a good thing by financial markets in general, because generally markets don't like extremes.
Now, included in this package, there are several spending cuts included in the deal, and that's what helped it pass through. Specifically, IRS funding, how could that impact the agency and taxpayers?
Well, probably a few less audits, and I don't think that a lot of people will be crying about that. But in a serious note, it's important to understand that when you cut agency funding, that the agencies themselves can reshuffle the deck chairs and figure out how to actually maximize that spending. Spending discipline does have interesting effects. Sometimes it causes different things. In the IRS case, almost certainly fewer enforcement agents will get hired. That is for sure. But it remains to be seen exactly what the impacts are. I mean, the estimates I read last night on less enforcement were under $1 billion of less tax receipts to go along with that. But, we'll see how it plays out.
And you mentioned the markets moving to the center. What does that mean for the average American looking forward and those who are monitoring the global markets?
Well, I mean, I think like most Americans, I feel like I am in the center. And, whether you're center right on some issues or center left on other issues, I think people see it as a hopeful sign that our government can actually get along and do something that's reasonable as opposed to listening to the extremes. So I think people might be a little bit hopeful. As far as markets are concerned, I think that the attention will now turn squarely to the Federal Reserve and what goes on in the fight against inflation. And that is a very complicated topic. In fact, the debt deal, what it will do is the government is now going to have to borrow to pay for, basically they've been suspending borrowing or not been able to do anything for a while and just trying to make do with what they have. That borrowing will impact liquidity in the markets because the federal government will be borrowing, and it may mean private borrowers have a little bit tougher of a time. And the Fed will take that into account when it makes its decisions.
The impact can be felt on so many people. What about those who are still paying off their student loans? How will they be impacted?
Well, the student loan topic is kind of complicated. Look, the first thing that happens is the pause that we've had for 3 years is going to end as part of this deal. So the student loans that are owed, that people have already budgeted for, that they understood that they haven't been paying since the pandemic, they're going to start paying. Now, we all know human nature, right? People kind of get used to not paying things when they don't think they may have to. But it was, for most people, that was never going to be an option. That will impact balance sheets. It will probably impact some consumer spending. People will have to get back to that process. But the forgiveness package, despite the Senate and the House passing a rescission of that, Biden has already said he's going to veto that. And so that's going to end up in the Supreme Court. So it's important not to conflate those two things.
Very good.
Interesting stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up.